Hi guys, today's video is another shortish one, and full disclosure, I actually only came across it purely because I was looking up my last video, Poor Little Colette's Murder, and so then this one came up and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, so I looked into that one as well. Again, there was not a lot of information on this one, but we are talking about 31-year-old Mark Cronin, who was a father of three from Hyde Avenue, Ballinacurra Weston in Limerick. His wife was Angela Collins, who went by Biddy. And she essentially was subjected to like 9 years of abuse at the hands of her husband. Biddy made a statement to Gardaí after our event takes place. However, she would then try to say that she didn't make this statement. But in the statement, she basically lists a series of the attacks. It would basically be said that he stabbed her while she was heavily pregnant and left her to bleed on a street in Limerick. She would require 6 stitches for this. She injured her head, spine and jaw and was hospitalised for a week after he threw her out of a window from the top floor in their house, like the second floor, in Ballinacurra. He headbutted her in the face, he hit her, he pulled her hair, he grabbed her by the throat, he bit her. Now, not gonna lie, when our story takes place, sources will say May 1st into the 2nd and then May 2nd into the 3rd, but the majority of them say the 2nd into the 3rd, so I'm going to go with that. So the 2nd of May 1998, Mark Cronin and his wife Biddy, at this point, it's said they have separated. Now, Biddy would later say that the reason they met that night was to talk through things and to stop the arguing and stuff. So they met in Henry Cecil's pub. I believe that they were drinking from around 7 p.m. up until kind of 1 a.m. Now, Biddy would say that Mark then says that he's going to leave to go get tablets, and she basically says that, like, she says, oh no, don't go, stay, and that this is why he then attacks her. He tries to headbutt her again and people hold him back. He then leaves. This is at around 1 a.m. and he comes back at around 1:40, 1:45 a.m. and the doorman let him back in. I think that's questionable, but one of the doormen, Willie Clancy, would go on to say that he then saw Cronin cross the dance floor of the disco nightclub over to his wife, raise his hand and point something at her. He says that it was a gun and that he saw her push his hand away or the gun away and that it went off. Mark then turned around and left the pub. Another couple, Pamela O'Donnell, was out with her boyfriend, John Grant, and Pamela's sister, Georgina O'Donnell, was also with them. She was 20 years old, and they were from St. Bridget's Avenue in St. Mary's Park, Limerick. John Grant would say that he saw this man, Cronin, pointing his hand or his arm or whatever at the woman who was his wife, Biddy, and that he then turned away and heard a bang. Pamela then jumped off her chair screaming, and Georgina was lying on the floor. Another witness, Claire Phelan, who was a part-time bar worker, said that she saw Cronin argue with his wife, that he grabbed her, by the shoulders and stuff, and that he headbutted her, and then like that he stormed out. So we are now into the morning of May 3rd, 1998. And then one source says that at 2:05 a.m, the DJ flashed the lights on and stopped the music, and that it was then that they, discovered there was a girl dead on the ground. Claire would then say that at around 2:05, when the DJ had flashed the lights and turned off the music, she heard the gunshot. People were panicking. She saw Cronin walk back across the dance floor and leave, and that there was a girl lying on the floor. Georgina had been shot through the eye. Now, one source says that Biddy kind of got out of the way, turned, probably it was that she went like this and moved, and that's what one of the sources says, that she got out of the way a bit. In the statement to Gardaí that she would later dispute, she said that when Cronin came back, he said, I'm going to sort you out now. He pointed it at me. I think it was me he meant to hit. Now, when the case came to trial in April 2000, she would deny that she ever made a statement, that she ever talked about abuse before, or anything like that. But Detective Garda Michael Murphy would say that after this incident, after the incident in the nightclub, the murder, that Biddy Collins voluntarily went to him and told the statement. He took the statement, he saw her sign it, all of this. Now, after her stay in hospital that time, she did actually make a statement to the Gardaí, but then told him that she was too afraid to go ahead with it and withdrew the complaint. And basically, Gardaí told the court that they believed that this was why she was denying that she had done this, in fear that if Cronin wasn't to be convicted, he would go after her. At this point, I don't even know are they technically still together. Matt Cronin was found guilty of the murder of Georgina O'Donnell and sentenced to life. He would also receive 10 years concurrently for the possession of a gun and for, the intent to use it. After he was sentenced, Georgina's family broke down in tears. "We're just relieved it is all over," her sister Audrey said. "We'd like to thank all the detectives and Gardaí involved in the case. We're happy that justice has been done." It was also reported that Cronin had previously served 10 months for possession of an offensive weapon, 1 year for assault, and 10 months for criminal damage. He appealed his sentence in May 2003, but this was rejected. Cronin would actually testify in his defence. So basically, he said that at no point did he ever have a gun. He denied there had been any altercation between his wife and him, even though obviously several witnesses were there. Some had to hold him back so they couldn't hit her again. And I'm just going to read what he said happened. He said that he left because it was too crowded and it was an unpleasant atmosphere. He said he returned then looking for his wife. He located her and moved his head to attract her attention. I saw her looking in my direction and I went like that to salute her, to let her know I was there. The stenographer would note that the witness had his hand in the air pointing forward. Now, I kind of naturally done this. That's what you do. You wouldn't, you don't go like this. I'm here. He said he then spoke to a person who was in his wife's group, Robert O'Donnell, and that he told him there was going to be trouble in a minute. This was because, quote, Dean was fighting with the boys from My Ross. I don't know who Dean is. Immediately after this was said, Cronin said that he himself was hit in the face with a bottle which had been thrown. I stumbled back, grabbed my mouth and kind of crouched down to the side. The bang came a couple of seconds later. He decided to get out, and as he did so, he pulled up his shirt to dab at the side of his mouth where he was bleeding. About an hour later, some people came to his house and told him that he was being blamed for the shooting. He repeated, "I had got nothing to do with the shooting." I'm sorry, you're saying that there was a gunshot in a nightclub where you and your wife were, and you left. You were back together, let's say, in the normal scheme of things, but then there was a gunshot and you left without her. I found an article from January 2016, and it is about Georgina O'Donnell's mother, Vera, talking about how she has forgiven Mark Cronin. "I pray he comes out of jail a better man." She said she prays for him every day, for him and for his family. "I will pray for him today. I often got masses said for him. I feel myself, who am I to judge him? We have to forgive. No matter what anyone does to us, we have to forgive them. We can't expect to be forgiven ourselves if we don't forgive. That's my belief. He has kids himself and he has lost all his kids because he wasn't there for their rearing." She said that she understood he didn't intentionally mean to kill her daughter. "That makes a difference. If he went out to do it, I suppose I could be very bitter." Vera would sadly also lose her son Jason in September 2010. She says that her other children, obviously don't agree with this stance of forgiving him and think she's mad for forgiving him. She said, "He should be out shortly. He was out for Christmas. If he's going to be left out, he's going to be left out. There's nothing we can do about it now. I just hope he won't ever hurt anybody again." I tried to find information about if he had been released, because that was 2016, so if he was getting out for Christmas, chances are he's well and truly out now. I can't find anything else on it. Yeah, so that is the case. I don't think I've ever done a case like that where it was, the intended target wasn't done. And I was actually thinking, because isn't it interesting that he got charged for murder, even though technically that's, he didn't mean to kill her. And we see that with other situations where people actually kill people by stabbing them or whatever, and then they're done for manslaughter. So I was like, oh, I just thought it was interesting that he hadn't been done for manslaughter. But I suppose the logic to the argument there was probably, but he did intend to kill his wife, so he had gone out with the intention to kill someone. Yeah. Let me know what you think of this case. If you know of any other cases like this where the wrong person was harmed or killed, you can let me know. I'm gonna keep the rant short again. And yeah, thank you for all your support, and we shall see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.